All right, how's everybody doing today? Welcome back to You Don't Know Ball. Got another simulated mock for you guys. And with how, just to put it frankly, terrible the last few, simulated mocks we've done are, figured it's right. We only go back. I got the, sliders maxed out here. No randomness, drafting for needs, positional value, all the way on the PFF board. Don't want to mix it up. Let's see the results we get with the sliders all the way like this. And if we can get a mock that is not just terrible. First off the board, no explanation as always, Caleb Williams. Second off the board, Drake May. And I saw a comment on the last video. I won't just glaze it over like normal. I'm going to say this. Drake May at number 2, I personally don't believe is the play. I believe that either trading down or taking Jaden Daniels here is the play. Because Jaden offers you a different type of upside than Drake, where if you throw him into the fire right away, I believe he's going to be much more successful. Just better in the Washington system. Again, also, Jaden, I don't think is going to need time to sit, whereas with Drake, you need time to sit, and the Commanders just is not going to be that situation. Yeah, Drake to the Commanders at number 2 is not the play for me. Marv at number 3 again. These simulations kind of suck with this shit. Patriots are not just going to... I'm not even going to get into it. I really wish the computer could trade in these simulated mocks. It's getting so tiring. And then Malik Neighbors here at number 4. Again, no surprise. He usually follows Marv. Again, I just cannot believe the Patriots wouldn't either trade down or take a quarterback. Unbelievable. And then we got the big 3 in a row, per the usual. Again, the boring part of these mocks is usually the simulated ones is just the beginning here. We got Rome, no surprise, number 5. And then the Giants going Joe Alt again. And again, not a big fan of this pick because Joe Alt, I'm keeping it left tackle. He goes to the Giants. He's got to play right tackle. And there's some volatility there. And then pick 7 again. The Titans taking Cooper DeJean. There's just so many more things the Titans need. I don't know. I can't speak for certain, but I really, really doubt Cooper DeJean is going to be a 7th overall pick to a team that has humongous needs on their trenches. It just doesn't really make much sense. Okay, and then at pick 8, Drazon Newton. Following suit of what I did with me and Hunter's 2-round mock we did the other day. I actually like this pick a lot, where, most people, again, think the Falcons need to go edge. Again, you go Drazon or Byron on the interior, you're still getting fantastic value, and honestly, you might be getting better value than you could be with getting one of the edge guys. It just depends on how you value yourself. Okay, and then pick 9 again to the Bears. I know we've seen this one recently. Latu. I mean, the Bears are in range where they could potentially take a home run shot. But the way that they're built, the way the history of the team has been recently, you're bringing Caleb in. I don't think you want to be taking a potentially volatile pick. And again, we know with Latu's injury history, there is volatility there. I think you're going to be going for a safer pick than Latu if you're the Chicago Bears. And then for the 4th, 5th time in a row, Talise Fuaga to the Jets. But as I say every time, if that was the pick, it's a fantastic pick. There's really not much more to say. If you're the Jets, you got your tackles on 1-year deals. You got to figure it out for the future. You also can play Talise guard this year, kick him back out, keep him at guard. Whatever you want to do, it's fantastic value right here at pick 10. And then somehow again, at pick 11 here, I don't know. These simulated mocks just be making me so mad. Brock Bowers at pick 11. And somehow tight end is the second need for the Vikings. I know T-Hawk is coming off of an injury, but I don't know. It's just, there's nothing more to say. And then Quinyon Mitchell again here at pick 12. I mean, as I say every time, it's apparently, according to the computer, it's either going to be Terrion Arnold or Quinyon Mitchell. And again, I don't know. The Broncos are just a weird pick because it's I can't even knock it. The Broncos are just in such a weird situation. But the way the board fell in this mock, them not taking a quarterback is fucking egregious. These simulations are making me so mad. All right, and after the Broncos passed on him and others for seemingly no reason, the Raiders not having to trade up or do any work, Jaden Daniels just falls right into AP's lap. I mean, if you're a Raiders fan, you gotta love it. If you're like me and you're looking for a logical simulated mock, it doesn't really make much sense that he would fall. But hey, if you're a Raiders fan, you're rejoicing. That's for damn sure. All right, and then finally a pick here to make me smile. Byron Murphy to the Saints. Again, I'm a Saints fan. I love Byron Murphy. I think Byron Murphy would literally fit perfectly in our trenches. If this were to be the pick on draft night, I might be doing triple backflips. All right, and then Terrion Arnold to the Colts at pick 15. Side note, just because it's interesting, even though he's off the board, I have heard, more and more rumblings that the Colts potentially looking to trade up a little bit for Mr. Brock Bowers here. Now, again, it's obviously not going to happen in this sim. It didn't happen. But just something to keep your eye on. But then also the pick that they already made here, Terrion Arnold. You know, if Terrion Arnold ends up being a Colt, would not be surprised at all. Would be fantastic value. And, you know, again, whether it's Quinion or whether it's Terrion, I think it'll be one of them right here. So, you know, this is probably one of the more, and I mean, maybe one of the only, I can't say that for sure. But, you know, the mock hasn't been money as I was expecting so far. So this is definitely one of the better picks of this mock, to put it in the best way possible. And then pick 16 to the Seahawks, again here with Dallas Turner. We've seen this one a couple times. And as I said every time when this one pops up, if this were the selection right here, this is like one of the only picks where I'll excuse, you know, just completely disregarding that interior that's just falling apart. But, you know, if you get a guy, potential blue chip player like Dallas Turner, then it makes it all right. Boye Mafe, Dallas Turner, Leonard Williams in the middle. Again, all of a sudden, these trenches really come to life. All right, and then this is definitely something we haven't seen in a while here. You know, switching it up a little bit, thank God. We got the Jags taking Jared Verse right after Dallas Turner. Again, so we got, you know, our two, you know, potential blue chip edges in this year's class. Well, minus also, you know how I feel about Latu again. It just comes down to injuries with him. But our two injury-free, you know, potential blue chip edges going back-to-back here. And, you know, Jared Verse, like the way he fits into this Jags defense. He's versatile, where Jared Verse, you could play him 3-4 or 4-3, and I still feel pretty comfortable with it. But I feel even more comfortable with it in this 3-4 Jags defense. And, yeah, I mean, you know, the reality situation is Trayvon Walker, we know, also versatile, where we can kind of move Trayvon around. So Jared Verse, adding more firepower to those trenches over there in Jacksonville, knowing that you got to get past Mahomes, certainly nothing wrong with that. And if this was the route they went on draft night, would be not a problem at all. Actually, would be a pretty money selection. And then pick 18 here to the Bengals, Troy Fautanu. Fantastic landing spot for him. You could plug him in at guard right away this year, in Volston spot or whatever you want to do. And then, you know, if you don't get a re-sign next year for Trent or however you want to go about that, you can kick him over to the right tackle. You can do whatever you want. The reality of the situation is Troy Fautanu, as we know, versatile, and the Bengals would definitely be one of the best landing spots for him in the draft. All right, and then again, we've seen this one at least once before. Very unrealistically, J.J. McCarthy. I mean, I can't say, you know, again, I can never say anything for certain, but about a 99.9% certainty that this is incredibly unrealistic. But we'll play the draft as it goes in the simulation. If this were to happen, and you're a Rams fan, you should be so very happy, so ecstatic. Again, I know the consensus on JJ with a lot of, you know, fans right now is kind of just game manager. I don't see the hype. Crunch the tape more. Understand he was in a very power-heavy run offense. Didn't have a lot of opportunity. You'll understand the hype more. You know, we're talking about a kid with good decision-making skills, good footwork. The reality of the situation is he needs time. Like, he needs time, and the Rams would be one of those situations where you'd get at least a year, almost probably at least 2 years' time. Definitely one of, if not the best scenarios you could throw JJ into. Again, it's just rather unrealistic with the way things are trending right now in the draft. But if somehow, some way, everything around JJ has been complete smoke, which I don't believe it's been when there's this much. Usually when there's smoke, there's fire. Usually when there's this much smoke, there's fire. But if somehow it wasn't the case and the Rams got their hands on him, which, again, I do not believe it all is the case, but if it were to happen, you know what? Again, money landing spot, that's all I can say. All right, and then at pick 20 here, I love this pick a lot, actually. Now, I don't think we've seen this one yet in our sims. We got Olo Fashanu to the Steelers here. And it's just an absolutely fantastic landing spot because A, the Steelers really need a tackle, and B, you can do what you did last year with Broderick Jones. If you're not comfortable throwing him into that fire right away, you can let him, you know, get those reps in practice, have him back up, and then start him whenever you're comfortable, which is what I would probably expect Steelers to do again, considering they just did that with Broderick. They're not in a rush, understanding we got to protect our quarterback, whether, again, it's going to be Justin in the future, Russ now. If someone else in the future, it's not either Russ or Justin. The reality is you always got to have your trenches shirt up, and this is the type of pick that I say, you know, a lot of times in the first round, it's not about being flashy. It's about getting those trenches right. It's exactly what Steelers would be doing here with pick 20 if this was the route they were to go. All right, into the Dolphins here at pick 21. Again, we've seen this one surely at least a couple times when we've done these simulated mocks. And you know what? JC Latham, the Dolphins, again, you know, I've seen some of your guys' comments where you say you truly believe JC's only a tackle. You know what, though? You know what? I'm not on the same train as you guys, and that's fine. We can agree to disagree. I believe there's certainly very high upside if you want to move him over to guard. His frame, the punch he has. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying it out. And if he were to fall to the Dolphins, you would very likely expect that that's what they would be doing. And again, I think he has very high ceiling there, so I wouldn't mind this pick at all. And then pick 22, again, we have Nate Wiggins. which I believe is like 7 of the 9 times we've done these. There's really nothing more to say at this point. If you've seen any more of my simulated mocks, you understand already how I feel about this. If you haven't, I'm going to touch very quickly. I know a lot of Eagles fans aren't the biggest fan of this pick, but from an upside perspective, Nate Wiggins still has that upside. Again, I understand the concerns with the size. I think you can bulk him up. It's not like you just have to keep him at the same weight he is right now. I think a lot of teams learned their lesson after last season. I don't think you bring him in and keep him at that playing weight he played at Clemson. So the reality situation is high upside pick, also definitely high risk, high reward. But the reality situation is, it's up to the Eagles, not to me or to these simulated mocks. Nate Wiggins very easily could not be an Eagle, and all this discussion could be for nothing. I'm getting kind of tired of discussing the potential Nate Wiggins on the Eagles, because according to these simulations, he never goes anywhere else. And then at pick 23 again, we've definitely seen this before. That's what I'm saying about these mocks that piss me off. Like, sometimes even though they're, random or whatever, like, some of them are just a little bit too, like, pre-registered for my liking. Like, I swear we've had 1, if not 2, like potentially 2, where they go Brock at 11 and then also Bo Nix right here at 23. Like, I really don't think that is the Vikings plan. I really don't. Again, I like a lot of things about Bo Nix, but if you're the Vikings and you have Jay Jettas and you know that the deep ball has been a huge part of your arsenal over the last few seasons, you draft Bo, you kind of take that out the arsenal. Like, it's just not a good landing spot for Bo Nix. And it's also not a good fit for the Vikings. Just to be completely honest, I'm just not a fan of it. And more than anything, I'm not a fan of when I do these simulations and somehow you get the same 2 players. Like, no one else wants Brock Bowers. And again, with Bo Nix, maybe this is just a little early for Bo. I'm just not a fan of the way that these mocks play out for certain teams, is really what I'm trying to say more than anything. And then Amarius Mims again here at pick 24. Definitely seen this one a few times. And if you haven't seen, before, I'll just retouch on it real quick. Such high upside from a frame, weight, height, length perspective, right? Amarius Mims is an offensive line coach's dream. There's just no other way to put it. But what isn't a dream is how often he's been on the field and just the lack of how much we know about his game because of that, right? But minus all that, if he can stay healthy and we get him out there consistently, I mean, the floor and the ceiling can just be astronomically high because you are getting a just ginormous, very rare size human being. All right, and then again at pick 25, we've definitely seen this one a lot more recently. But again, I understand it. There's nothing wrong with it. Graham Barton, one of those guys, one of the only 2 guys, him and Troy, with that 5-position versatility on the O-line, very rare, where you really can play him wherever you want. And again, if you're the Packers, I don't know where exactly you're going to play him, but the reality situation is that's why a guy like Graham Barton fits well on a team like the Packers that has a few spots to fill. Wherever he feels best in training camp, we're going to throw him in, and we're comfortable with it. So if Graham Barton were to go here at pick 25, wouldn't see anything wrong with it, and honestly wouldn't be too surprised. All right, and then at pick 26, I know we've seen this one at least once recently. Kool-Aid McKinstry again here to the Bucs. And as I said last time, love Kool-Aid, still think he's first-round value, where he could even potentially go like earlier than this, and some people would be like, oh, I'm so surprised. Well, I won't be surprised. I still think he's first-round value. He's just been falling down the boards, again, because a lot of people haven't seen him recently. The lack of testing. People get recency bias. It's a real thing, which is why you got to be careful not to around this time of the year. But the bottom line is, if you're the Bucs, I don't like the pick because you have way more pressing needs on that O-line. The O-line is atrocious right now. There's just no nice way to say it. And if you just re-sign Baker to a really, really good deal in his favor and you're taking a big chunk out of your salary cap, again, I know it was a good deal for both sides. I'm not trying to say like Baker's robbing them. But now Baker's taking a big deal of your salary cap out. And to not replace it with cheap, young O-linemen is just terrible, to be honest. And you really need to spend this first-round pick on some type of O-line, the way I see it. And you knew it was only right that we got so lucky and blessed last time. Some way, somehow, the coding, it glitched or something. Because like I say, every time, except last time, the Cardinals always double up on receiver. Well, sure enough, no different today. Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. I will say, though, of all the times they've doubled up on receiver, I don't know if they've ever done this combo before. And this combo right here, I definitely think, you got to love it, especially if you're an LSU fan. Like me, I got to love it a little. But jokes aside, BS aside, it's like, I don't think going back-to-back your receiver when you have a lot of other very pressing trench needs is a good idea. To me, it's not. But again, if it was Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors, I'll let it slide a little bit. And then pick 28, Tyler Nubin to the Bills. Definitely have seen this one other time here. And as I said last time when we had seen it, I saw the RAS score again, all that. I know that, maybe a lot of people are falling on Tyler Nubin after that information. I'm not one of those ones where, and again, normally, RAS and all that, I incorporate very, I'm well-rounded. I like to take everything in. With Tyler Nubin, he's one of the very rare examples where I'm not going to let the RAS affect it too much, because what I've seen on tape, I do believe will translate. I think you're still getting one of the best, if not the best safety in this year's class. I'm going to let him, he's going to be one of those guys where I think he can break the RAS mold. And if you're getting here at pick 28, again, I don't know where he's going to go, but I personally think you're getting good value here at pick 28 if you're the Bills and you're taking him, especially with how desperately you need to fill the safety. All right, and then at pick 29 again, I know we've seen this one recently, and but just side note, Jackson Powers Johnson falling this far, and I believe this is it's either the third or fourth. I'm not sure, but one of those two numbers that he's fallen past pick 20, and I don't know how you feel personally about Jackson Powers Johnson, but to me, him falling past pick 20, 25 is egregious, especially with how many teams have very desperate interior needs. I think you're getting a potential future All-Pro, Pro Bowl at the Pro Bowl floor. I'm not even kidding when I say I'm very high on Jackson Powers Johnson. You should be too if you've crunched the film. And the fact that he keeps falling this far, it's just fucked up. There's just no other way to put it. It's just ridiculous. In a coding error or whatever. I don't know how you want to put it, but yeah, I don't think this many teams are going to be skipping on Jackson Powers Johnson. And if they do and I look like an ass come draft time, I'll own up to my mistakes. But I just don't think he's fallen this far. It's getting a little bit ridiculous here. And then pick 30 to the Ravens here. I know you've seen this one at least once. Again, Adonai Mitchell. But I love his landing spot. A guy who's going to throw around that body, big frame in the run game, but also be that deep target for Lamar with the humongous catch radius. I mean, him and Ravens fans would love each other, because I know the Ravens, they desperately need a receiver. I think Adonai Mitchell could come in, create fireworks right away, and it would definitely be a fun combo, him and Lamar. And then pick 31 here, again, Tyler Guyton. And as I say every time that, the computer makes this pick for the 49ers, Tyler Guyton in the first round doesn't make a lot of sense to many teams, but one of the very few, if not couple, if not only, team that really makes a lot of sense for him is the Niners. You don't need to start him this year. Whether you kick him in next year with whatever you do with McKivitz, or if Trent retires soon enough, or however this goes, what I'm really trying to say is whether he takes that left tackle spot, that right tackle spot, is to be determined. But you give him a lot of time to grow around a lot of good linemen in a system where he can thrive, use that athleticism. I mean, the reality situation is, like I'm saying, Tyler Guyton going in the first round to almost any other team is not a good value first round pick. But for a team like the Niners that doesn't really have many pressing needs at all, that just needs to continue to shore out that line success for this Kyle Shanahan offense, taking a potential major successor like Tyler Guyton, nothing wrong with it at all. And it would be honestly a pretty good pick. All right, and then moment of truth, we got to wait. You already know how this goes. Great job, good looking draft. I don't know how I feel about certain parts of it, but we'll take it on this one, PFF. Scroll down here. Moment of truth. And again, all right, it's literally the computer's one of their favorite picks. Because I'm not going to lie, I think their favorite pick, as I've said it, their favorite pick is definitely Nate Wiggins to the Eagles here. There's no doubt about that. But one of their other favorites, surely Ladd McConkey of the Chiefs. We've seen this one so many times. But, especially with the Rashee Rice drama and everything going on, who knows? And I think they were going to go receiver to begin with, and I think they're definitely going to go receiver now no matter what. So, bottom line, Ladd McConkey to the Chiefs wouldn't be surprising. All right, and that'll do it for today's mock reaction. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're getting closer to the draft. I can't wait. I know you guys can't wait. So if you want more draft content, anything related to football, anything off-season related, we're going to start getting more into the season, get into the meat and potatoes soon enough. Drop a like, drop a sub. We would love to see you back soon. You have a great rest of your day.